Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe is going to be the new mainline game in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and though there's not a lot of information that is out about the game, I think maybe, just maybe, I might have uncovered what the game will be about, with Edward Kenway maybe making a comeback and a new possible modern day protagonist, especially the pieces of Eden that might be in the game. I will be making a disclaimer that I might be wrong, and that since the game is still in heavy development, that it is very much subject to change. So now I will go into what I have found out so far, the things that might be linked to Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe, and this video was brought up by a subscriber that I had a conversation with called Zukulfernix about a man named Peter Stump, and who was also known as the Wolf of Bedgard, and this sent me down a rabbit hole of information, and I'll detail what I found. So first off, I'm sure anyone that is interested has seen what Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe will most likely be about, and from what we know so far, it will be a game set during the witch trials in the 16th century and is also said to be taking place in Germany. The game is said to be more linear, or in other words, just like the old Assassin's Creed games, as in back when the franchise was still good. The game is also going to focus more on horror elements, having a darker and gritty tone, and the game is also said to have a single female protagonist called Elsa, who apparently has supernatural powers and is rumored to have the ability to control animals, which is most likely linked towards the use and existence of the pieces of Eden, and this would be the groundwork I used to do all my research, and what I found both shocked and intrigued me, and this could either be right or it could be wrong. I started my search with the pieces of Eden, looking for pieces of Eden that would give someone the ability to control animals. It led me to 4 pieces of Eden. The main one is called the Crescent Amulet, the next one is called the Lotus Disc, and the other one is the Lantern. And there's also an Apple of Eden that is titled Isabel's Apple of Eden, and it kind of fits the name of the new protagonist Elsa, Isabel. Almost sounds like maybe if Isabel used Elsa as an alias, but there isn't much to go on at this point, and also from what I saw, Isabel's Apple of Eden is apparently destroyed or missing, and she is apparently dead or missing, and was last seen alive in 1524. I can't find anything else about her, so her story is pretty much a dead end. The other 3 pieces of Eden are where the bulk of my research went, because they really give so much information that could lead to so much for Assassin's Creed Hexe, bearing in mind that the predictions I am making could come true. But first, let's start with the Crescent Amulet, and I just want to add that the 3 pieces of Eden can merge together to form one big piece of Eden that becomes more powerful when merged together, and the Crescent Amulet makes a lot more sense to be in Hexe because of the abilities it has, and I'll show you on screen. As you can see, the abilities it has are very representative of what one would call witchcraft, and this would tie in very well to the period that Hexe is set in. The only issue is that there are a lot of blank spaces as to how the Crescent Amulet would get in Elsa's position, because the Crescent Amulet was nowhere near Germany during the 16th century. It was actually discovered in the Philippines by a Portuguese explorer called Ferdinand Magellan. Now you see, the crazy part is that what I'm about to say might shock you, but I say it under the guise that I might eventually be proven wrong. But what Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe might be is an Assassin's Creed Black Flag sequel, because based on the lore and history I could find, it involves Edward Kenway and might also lead to us getting a new modern day storyline, as well as who the new modern day protagonist might be for Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe. I will get into that later, but basically with Ferdinand Magellan, he found the Crescent Amulet on an island called Cebu, and was notified that the Crescent Amulet is one of many pieces of Eden. So then Ferdinand went looking for more and made his way to a place called the Matkan Island to get another piece of Eden, but it was already in the possession of the Matkan Island chief called Lapu-Lapu, and since Ferdinand Magellan wanted his piece of Eden, him and Lapu together with their soldiers would clash. Lapu-Lapu would use his piece of Eden in the fight, and in the end Lapu-Lapu and his soldiers would win, with Lapu-Lapu personally executing Ferdinand Magellan. Now, here is some important information that links Edward Kenway to Assassin's Creed Hexe. A detail of Magellan's ship, which is called the Victoria, was illustrated by the Brabantian cartographer Abraham Ortelius in one of his maps, and Ferdinand Magellan's ship would disappear in 1570. And the detail would end up in the hands of Peter Beckford of Jamaica, and then would later find its way to now assassin Edward Kenway, and this would happen during the events of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And now with Edward Kenway, things would more so lead to the modern day, because long story short, together with a Dutch explorer called Hendrik, and with a navigator and former Templar turned ally called John Young, the three of them would start the Kenway Union, which is basically a faction just like Abstergo and the Brotherhood. The only difference is that they had been allied with the assassins throughout history, but was mainly started by Edward Kenway in 1725. But later on in history, the Brotherhood and the Kenway Union wouldn't see eye to eye, so they would cut ties. But later on in 2023, in the modern day, they would join forces again with the regards to Abstergo's growing threat in looking for more pieces of Eden. This is where things are going more towards the modern day, and it is linked to Edward Kenway's ancestor called Noah Kim, who is essentially a descendant or family member of Desmond Miles and all the assassins that you have played as that were linked to him. But I will go into that later. The other pieces of Eden that are linked to the Crescent Amulet are the Lotus Disc and the Lantern. The Lotus Disc essentially functions as a power source and amplifier that magnifies the power and range of the Crescent Amulet and the Lantern. And then there is the Lantern. The Lantern is a very powerful piece of Eden and has many abilities. It functions almost the same as an Apple of Eden, and it can remove all the harsh mental wear on the mind of one who uses the Crescent Amulet, and I'm sure the same can be done for any of the mental consequences that come with using pieces of Eden. And with the three pieces of Eden, when they are put together, they apparently give the user a great deal of power, one that could possibly give the wielder the power to control the world. Now I just want to talk about the Werewolf of Bedgard quickly, who was a man called Peter Stump and was born in Germany in 1539 and was publicly executed in 1589. He was a serial killer that went by many names, but was most notably called the Werewolf of Bedgard, and was accused of many things including werewolfery, witchcraft and cannibalism. People believe that he got the name Stump from the fact that his left hand was cut off, leaving him with a stump, and this was apparently what got him caught, because supposedly the werewolf that people saw also had a stump on its left paw. The reason the story is so interesting is because he confessed to doing black magic since he was 12, and that the devil had given him a belt or girdle that would give him the power to turn into a werewolf. And this is essentially linked to maybe being a piece of Eden and how it would be cool to have it in the witch trial setting that will be in Assassin's Creed Hexe. The only thing I'm not sure is how it would work out with the dates. The game takes place in the 16th century, and I left out a lot of the stuff he did because Peter Stump is a really dark character with a very dark story, a person who did a lot of bad things that I don't think would be safe to mention on YouTube, but who knows what they might just do. It might be in the game or it might not. Assassin's Creed Hexe having a modern day is making a lot more sense. After the research I have done, it would be really cool to have a real modern day story again, because with all the information I found, it basically updates the modern day and mentions about what's been happening. Because with Noah Kim, his story takes place in 2023, so this story might be the new modern day direction of the franchise. This is interesting because we are getting a Black Flag remake, so I wonder what will be the difference, and the fact that Darby McDevitt is the lead writer for Hexe is too much of a coincidence. I have left a lot of details out because then this video could easily be a few hours long, but I have noticed a huge lack of information on Hexe, so I tried to look for it myself, and I feel that I might have found something. Now all I just need to do is wait and see when more information comes out, because I was reading parts of a comic called Assassin's Creed Forgotten Temple, and that is part of what led me to this, because it hints at so much of us maybe even getting a new hidden blade. But for now, I feel that I have said enough. And with that, this is the Chilly Man signing off. I thank everyone for watching. Peace out.